Welcome along to another risk-related podcast by Granite. This is where we really try to break down some complex topics into, well, what you actually need to know. Today, we're getting into something that's definitely on a lot of radars right now, sustainability reporting.
Absolutely. It's a big one.
And our goal, really, is to get a handle on the practical side of XBRL tagging and XHTML reporting. Why does it matter now?
You know, I've spent years in financial reporting, and I've really seen this shift towards digital standards happen. It's fascinating to see how it's now hitting sustainability reporting.
Definitely. And you're going to help us sort of cut through the noise, right? All the jargon around XBRL, XHTML, get to what it actually means for people day to day.
That's the plan. And, you know, while sustainability is our focus today, it's really important to see this isn't just about sustainability. XBRL and XHTML, they're part of this much bigger picture. The whole digitalization of financial reporting, it's coming for pretty much all companies soon. This is really the future of how businesses report, period.
Right. Okay, so let's jump in then, because, wow, the acronyms. You've got CSRD, ESRS, ESEF, XBRL, IXBRL, XHTML. It feels like a lot to digest. Where do we even start?
Yeah, it is a bit of an alphabet soup. Let's start with the main drivers. So CSRD, that's the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. That's the EU law pushing all this.
Got the big law.
Exactly. Then you've got the ESRS, the European Sustainability Reporting Standards. These are the nitty-gritty rules. They tell companies what to report under CSRD.
Got it. The what?
Then ESEF. European Single Electronic Format. Think of that as the overall digital reporting umbrella for Europe.
Okay.
And under that umbrella, we find XBRL, Extensible Business Reporting Language. It's basically a language that lets computers easily read and analyze financial data and now sustainability data too.
Machine readable. Okay. And IXBRL. I see that sometimes too.
Ah, yes, IXBRL or inline XBRL. That's just let's say a clever upgrade on XBRL. It means the reports are still machine readable, but they also look like normal documents for humans to read easily.
Okay, so it solves that problem.
Yeah.
Which brings us to XHTML. How does that fit into this picture?
Right. XHTML, Extensible Hypertext Markup Language. That's basically a web page format. It's what these browser-based reports are built with.
Like a website page?
Sort of, yeah. But the key is the X. It means it's extensible, so it can hold structured data specifically, those XBRL tags we just talked about.
Oh, okay.
So you open an XHTML report in your web browser. It looks like a normal report. But behind the scenes, the computer can read all that structured XBRL data embedded right in the code. Human and machine readable simultaneously.
That makes sense. So it's like a document with a hidden data layer. And you mentioned ESAP or EEAP. What's that about?
Yes, the European Single Access Point. That's actually a pretty big deal coming up. Imagine like a huge central online library. All these tag reports from companies all across Europe will end up there, freely available. It's going to make comparing sustainability performance, between companies much, much easier for investors, analysts, everyone.
Wow.
So for you listening, it means the information your company puts out there will be way more visible, way more comparable than before.
So it's not just a technical change. It's really about transparency and accountability. Now, I know things have shifted a bit with the timelines for these rules. What's the latest on that?
That's right. Things are, fluid. The EU pushed back the mandatory CSRD start date by 2 years for some companies, specifically those with over 250 employees, but maybe not listed yet.
Okay, the mid-size group.
Exactly. So there's a bit of uncertainty for them right now about exactly when CSRD and ESRS reporting kicks in. It's different for the big listed companies. They've actually been reporting ESRS info since 2024, although the digital tagging part for them also had some timeline tweaks.
Right.
So this delay really hits that sort of second wave of companies, the ones we thought would start in 2025.
And the criteria for who's in and who's out, is that set in stone? I remember employee numbers, financial thresholds.
Well, the employee threshold, that 250 number, that's still being debated a bit in the EU. It might change. But the main criteria for defining these large companies are still there. You need to meet at least 2 out of 3 conditions.
Okay, what are they again?
A balance sheet total over 25 million, or net turnover over 50 million, and that employee number, whatever it ends up being. So given the delay now, the general expectation is these larger non-listed companies will probably start this digital sustainability reporting from 2027.
Okay, 2027. So if a company does meet those criteria, what does it actually mean? What changes when you become a sustainability reporting company in this new way?
Right. Well, the biggest change is the sustainability report itself. It's not just a separate PDF you publish anymore.
Oh.
No, it has to be part of the management report right there within the official financial statement.
Wow, integrated.
Fully integrated. And that whole package, financials, management report, including sustainability, has to be in that digital XHTML format we discussed. It needs the XBRL tags for the sustainability data, and it needs to be assured or verified.
Assurance too, okay.
Yes.
What about companies that don't meet these criteria yet? Are they completely off the hook?
Well, not entirely, no. They definitely have more flexibility. They might choose to do voluntary reporting or maybe a hybrid approach. But, and this is key, the materiality analysis.
Determining what's important.
Exactly. That's still crucial for all companies. Thinking about your sustainability impacts and what you should report, regardless of whether the specific digital format is legally required yet. Plus, the demand for sustainability data just keeps growing, doesn't it?
It's true.
From stakeholders for communications, supply chains need it, banks and financiers want it. So even if the digital format isn't mandated for you right now, being ready with the data is becoming increasingly important for everyone. Digital readiness is key.
Okay, let's dig into that XHTML report a bit more. You said it's browser-based. What does that really mean for someone looking at it?
Okay, think about files you use every day, like a PDF or a Word doc. XHTML is just another file format, like not PDF or .docs, but it's designed to be opened in a web browser.
Right.
Visually, when you open it, it can look exactly like a PDF, same layout, text, charts, but the difference is underneath, in the code.
The hidden layer.
Exactly. That XHTML file has code, and embedded in that code is structured information. So say you're looking at an IFRS income statement in an XHTML report. You click on gross profit. In the background, the code actually shows the specific XBRL tag for gross profit, the number itself, and maybe metadata like the company currency, or if it's in thousands or millions. This isn't new, by the way. Listed companies have used this for consolidated financials in Europe since 2020.
That really clarifies it. And you mentioned somewhere people can actually see these reports in action.
Yes. Definitely check out filings.xbrl.org. That's XBRL International's public registry. It's got thousands of these ESEF reports already pulled from various European regulators.
Oh, cool.
It's super useful, especially before ESAP, that big European database, is fully up and running. You can search for companies, see the common format, but also how different companies do things slightly differently. Just remember, right now, most tags you'll see are IFRS for finance.
Right.
The ESRS sustainability tags will start showing up more as the final taxonomy gets locked down and the reporting deadlines kick in across the EU.
Okay, so just to nail this down, XHTML is the file types, the container. XBR tagging is like creating a super detailed SART index inside that container, telling computers exactly what each piece of data is.
Perfect analogy. Exactly right. An XHTML file by itself isn't tagged. You need a specific tool, a specific process to embed that XBRL data into the XHTML structure. Just converting to XHTML doesn't do the magic. Tagging is a separate vital step.
Got it. So bringing it back to sustainability, ESRD, ESRS.
Yeah.
How do XHTML and XBRL apply there specifically?
Okay, so for companies under CSRD, the requirement is the entire financial statement package needs to be in XHTML format, not just the sustainability bit.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. However, the mandatory XBRL tagging using the specific ESRS taxonomy applies directly to the sustainability information within that report once the EU finalizes the taxonomy.
Ah, okay.
So picture the full annual report in XHTML format. The management report section contains the sustainability disclosures. That's where you'll apply the ESRS tags. It's important to remember ESRS tags are different from, say, IFRS tags used for the financial numbers.
Right, different taxonomies.
Exactly. You've got IFRS for financials, ESRS for sustainability, maybe some national tags too. They all coexist, but ESRS tags are purely for the sustainability reporting required by the standards.
And presumably, ESRS tags can handle different kinds of data than just euros or dollars?
Oh, absolutely. They're designed for a much wider range, energy use in kilowatt hours, emissions in tons of CO2 equivalent, water consumption in cubic meters, employee data, qualitative policy statements, all sorts of things beyond just financial figures. So if your report mentions, say, the amount of recycled material used, that data point gets tagged. The tag identifies it as recycled material usage, specifies the unit, like metric tons, links it to the company, the reporting period. All that metadata is attached.
And your tool helps manage that.
Yes. In our tagger, for instance, we have something called a fact properties window. It just gives you a clearer, more user-friendly way to see and manage all that metadata attached to a tag without having to dig into raw XBRL code. It's not part of the official filing, just a usability feature, but the core point is the ESRS taxonomy is built specifically to match the ESRS standards. So if the standard requires a disclosure, there should be a tag for it.
That's helpful. Any advice on structuring the report itself, keeping this tagging in mind?
Yes, actually. A good practice is to try and structure your sustainability report following the order of the ESRS standards themselves.
Oh, okay.
And use the standard references like ESRS E16 for climate change disclosures, maybe in your headings. It makes it easier for humans to read and follow, and it makes the tagging process more logical. Readers can easily link your info back to the standard.
Good tip.
And obviously, everything starts with that materiality analysis. What topics are actually relevant for your business? That dictates what you report and therefore what you need to tag. In a tool like ours, you'd see your report draft on one side and the whole ESRS taxonomy, all possible tags on the other. You then map your content to the right tags.
Makes sense.
Just keep in mind that the ESRS standards and taxonomy are still being fine-tuned after feedback. So keep an eye out for updated versions before things become legally binding for your company.
Okay, so for companies just starting to think about XBRL and XHTML for sustainability, what are the first steps you'd recommend? Where do they begin?
Good question. I'd say the very first step is internal. Talk across departments. Really assess your current reporting process, who does what, when, how.
Get everyone in a room.
Pretty much. Define roles clearly, set realistic timelines, and crucially, factor in your auditors and assurers early. They need time, they need guidance, especially with the digital aspect. Then think about the report you need. How can you streamline things now, even before digital is mandatory, but build in the capability for it? Remember, digital financial statements are coming for everyone eventually, not just CSRD companies.
Good point.
So think about the whole landscape: processes, people, and yes, software. Look for tools that are scalable, versatile for different needs, easy to implement, and have good support. You can technically tag with free tools, maybe, but they often lack process integration, security, collaboration features, validation, all the things that make the overall reporting experience manageable, especially with these digital formats. You want it to be efficient for everyone involved.
That's really practical advice. A question that must come up a lot is, who actually owns this? Who's responsible for pulling together this increasingly complex report, financials, management report, sustainability?
That's a key question, and honestly, the answer has to be collaboration. Finance obviously has the history with financial reporting. They understand the statutory requirements, so they'll likely hold the overall responsibility, especially since sustainability is now in the management report.
So finance leads.
Leads, yes, but they can't do it alone. They don't have all the data or the deep subject matter expertise for, say, emissions calculations or biodiversity impacts. That comes from environment teams, ESG specialists, HR, operations.
Right.
So it has to be an integrated effort. Finance might manage the process, own the final output, but gathering the info, that's a team sport across the organization.
Makes sense. Thinking about the companies already doing ESEF reporting for financials, what have been the big lessons learned? What can others expect?
Well, one big one is integrated timelines. You can't have sustainability reporting operating on a completely separate schedule anymore if it's part of the main report.
Needs to align.
Exactly. Even for unlisted companies with maybe slightly looser deadlines than listed ones, you still need to plan resources effectively. That might be a change from how sustainability reports were done before. Another huge point is the mandatory assurance of the XBRL tags themselves, the ESRS tags. That's new territory for many, verifying the digital data.
Right. The technical assurance.
Yes. But the good news from the ESEF experience is, while XBRL tagging seems daunting at first, it does become business as usual. It actually forces a better understanding of your own data, and it improves communication with auditors. And following the standard ESRS structure, it genuinely helps comparability and makes reports easier to navigate.
So it gets better.
It does. And remember, it's not just about the law. Stakeholders expect this. It impacts your image. You need the report to be accurate technically, visually, content-wise. So collaborate early, internally, and with your auditors and assurers. Address both the technical stuff and the content. Be ready for new terms, new validation rules. It's just different from a static PDF.
Some really invaluable points there. As we wrap up this deep dive, what are the absolute key takeaways for our listeners about XBRL, XHTML, and sustainability reporting?
I think the main thing is this isn't just jargon anymore. XBRL tagging, XHTML reporting, they're becoming fundamental. For sustainability, yes, but also for broader financial reporting soon.
It's happening.
It's happening. So companies need to be proactive. Understand the rules, map out your data, figure out the processes and tools you'll need. Don't underestimate internal communication and collaboration. And yes, there's a learning curve, but ultimately this digital shift offers real opportunities. Yeah, for better data analysis, clearer stakeholder communication, more transparency. It's not just a compliance headache.
Excellent summary. Really helpful. Thank you so much for breaking this down for us today. Really appreciate your insights.
My pleasure entirely. Thanks for having me.
Huge thanks to all of you for tuning in to This is Risk-Related Podcast by Granite. As you think about this move to digital tagged reporting, maybe consider, beyond meeting the rules, how can this shift actually help your company use its data more effectively and tell its story better in this changing world? Something to think about.
So that's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.